we are going to share with you some of the things that you need in order to start poultry farming. So before you start poultry farming, one of the key things that you need to know or to have is that passion. You must have that passion. You must have that drive to do poultry farming, because I'll be honest, it's not walk in the park. Face challenges that you never had before. So basically, you need to have that passion with you. You need to do with passion. It's not that you need to be born with it. You can actually learn and enjoy it. So you need to enjoy doing poultry farming. You need to be hands-on. It's when you are beginning, it's not about that you drive and tell somebody you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. You need to know what needs to be done. So you need to know what needs to be done. So basically, you need to have that passion in you. You need to have that drive with you, so that you can be able to do your poultry farming without any fear. The second part, the second thing that you need is basically you need land. Without land, you cannot do poultry farming. So you need land. You can lease land. I know of people who have started poultry farming by leasing land to use some of this building. In Corona time period, we saw most people who had schools, who had free houses of the COVID lockdowns. Most people converted those buildings to farms, and most people reaped good as well during that period. So you need to have land. You need to have for you to be able to do that. The other thing is you need to have as much knowledge as possible. You can have land, but if you don't have knowledge on what how to raise your chicken, what to do when your chicken has a certain problem, what vaccinations to take at what specific times, then to be honest, you will be told. So basically, you need to have that information with you. You need to know when I need to do a certain vaccination, what period of time you need to do that. So that is the first thing that I learned, and we were forced to be able actually to do vaccination, injecting the chicken thighs. There are those vaccinations that you need to do, using some also needles to vaccinate on the wings and all that. So you need to do that. We were able to do that ourselves because again, it's not that we couldn't afford a vet to do that. We had the option of doing that with a vet, but what we decided is we need to do it ourselves, and also that next time we are able, even if we instruct somebody or we find somebody, we can be able to know what mistakes have been made and what needs to be corrected, what needs to be done well. So be your first-hand information on how you can be able to do this. So you need to know how much feeds your chicken needs, how much water they drink per day, how many chickens, so that you can be able to plan yourself. So you need to consume a lot of information before actually you start poultry farming, because information is key. So you need to have that knowledge, and this is one of the things that we lacked when we were starting. Like I said on my previous video, we bought some chicken. We didn't know the vaccination, what vaccines will be taken at what time, and we keep on learning up to date. So you need to have as much information as possible before you do poultry farming. Number three, that is, you need to have access to veterinaries, because there are sometimes you'll need probably them to come and check it out for you. But when they come and check it out for you for the first time, second time, they'll instruct you on what needs to be done and what you need to do to prevent certain diseases or something like that. But that information also is available online anyways, and you can easily, for you to get this information, it's really easy for you, because there are poultry farmers almost everywhere. So what you need to do is actually just visit those farms. That is what we did once. We visit a farm like 50 kilometers away from me, from where my farm, and then I visited another farm in the capital city, Nairobi, and I was able to see and ask questions, see what is happening. And this is the best way you can actually learn. So you need to do those visitations of the farms. Most people will not charge you. There are some farms that will charge you actually to do trainings for you and all that. So you need to be able to have at least one visit, and it will give you an idea on actually how you are going to handle your poultry and what kind of poultry you want to invest in. Which brings me to the fourth point, is number 4, you need to know what kind of poultry farming you want to do. Are you in for eggs? Is the eggs market easier for you? Is there are for meat, that is the broilers. Do you want to sell meat? Do you want to do indigenous chicken, which is, we call it kienyeji here, but it's indigenous chicken, which is free range? So do you want to do that? Each one of these has their own challenges, and I think in our next videos we will be sharing with you some of the challenges that you have. Like you can see in my farm, it's not like a zero type of poultry where like zero grazing like for the cow, but for chicken now they're not enclosed to one place. They actually can move from one section. We have a big field here, so basically, and this is where behind me, just right behind me here, you can see this is where the chickens eat their food. This is where they actually eat. This is where we place the foods, this section here, and what the chickens can be able to do that. We recently installed these. I will be taking you to the drinking sections for the chicken, and so you need to decide which one. So for us, we went for hybrid, where it's not a free range, but it's somehow like a free range, where chicken, they can be able to walk around, because we needed their meat to be, in case our focus is mainly for the eggs, but what we did is we said in case we need to sell for meat, people are very selective, especially in my market, where they don't want really meat that is not that farm. So we needed to have meat when we're selling meat. As much as we sell chicken for eggs, once we sell meat, so like we need, in the next 6 months, we need to dispose this chicken. Not disposing is the wrong word, but basically we need to sell this chicken so that we can bring in new breed. So for us to do that, we need to find hotels, restaurants, people who can buy meat, and they don't want soft meat. So people don't like, so they need somehow tender, that not tender, sorry, somehow a little bit firm meat, so that people enjoy that anyway. So that is what my market needs. So that is why we went to a semi-hybrid, where we don't enclose the chicken. They have their houses. This section here is where actually they sleep. So they sleep here, all of them, and then they come to this field, and this is where they eat, this is where they drink, this is where they rest. You can see there are some halls. They have actually sand here. Some halls, they like playing on sand, like that one chicken there. The chicken like playing on sand, covering themselves on sand and on soil, with soil. So we wanted to give our chicken that experience. So with this, it has its own challenges. Like for instance, this field, when it rains, it's actually flooded with water. So those are some of the challenges that you need. So you need to know which kind of poultry farming you want to do. Do you want to do the kienyeji one, the enclosed one? Do you want to do broilers? Do you want to do eggs, poultry for eggs, and all that? Okay. So number 5, you need to have access to markets, and that is one of the biggest challenges. So you need to figure out, that is one of the things that you need to look at. So I've seen some of my colleagues, what they'll do is they'll have their poultry farms very close to to the towns, to the cities and something like that, that works for them. To me, that doesn't work because my farm is actually up country. So what I need to do is I find markets, people who sell eggs to customers, and I sell them eggs at a lower price than what they'll sell. So basically, like a crate will go probably for around 300 shillings, which is around $3. So or actually $2.8 depending on the exchange rate. So that is one of the things that you need to look at access to market. You need to have that, because if you don't have that, then ideally you're screwed. And one of the things that we learned the hard way is that like we experienced sometimes back where we couldn't actually sell our eggs, and we ended up actually having some spoiled eggs with us. So that is one of the other things that we need to look at. Number five is, depending on the kind of chicken you want to raise, depending on the kind of poultry farm you want to have, you need to have access to the chicks, the day-old chicks. If you don't have access to that, which is sorry about that, my farm is close to the road. So if you don't have access to that, then you are in for a very rough start. And we experienced the same thing. We couldn't find a supplier who will supply us chicken, the day-old chicks, at a very good time, at the time we needed it. So most of it you have to book. They'll delay you. Some of them delayed us for a month, and we'll take you through some of these things. So because those are some of the challenges you face. We reached a stage where we wanted, sorry about that, we reached a stage where we wanted to do what we reached a stage where we wanted to actually buy our own incubator, but we had another challenge. So the other challenge is, where will you get fertilized eggs? Because like you can see in my farm, I don't have fertilized eggs. So that is one of the things that you will encounter. You will not have if you need to have access to either the day-old chicks. You need to have access to if you want to have your own incubator, you need to have access to fertilized eggs. The other thing that you need to have access to is you need to have power. The power that you need to have should be really reliable, because those things can be able to actually screw you up. I have a few colleagues, friends actually of mine, who's actually they stopped actually doing that, because in Kenya power is really unreliable. So that is one of the things that you need to think about. Okay, now the last thing that is really important, and is super important, is you need to have access to feeds, because you'll have brought chicken, you'll have them, and believe you me or not, the first 1 month is a walk in the park. Of course, there are challenges where the chicks die and something, because the first 1 month in terms of feeds, you will not have problem. But then on the 3rd month, the 4th, especially the 4th to the 6th month, that is when you'll have a lot of problems if you don't have access to affordable feeds. So we tried this, it didn't work for us. So basically we tried making our own feeds, it didn't work, because the chicken reached a stage where they were not laying eggs, and we were feeding them a lot of feeds which we were actually making ourselves. So we stopped doing that. We went to people who make their own feeds. We bought which is cheaper than the ones at the vets. A big mistake again. Chicken will lay eggs. Some of it will have the shells will not be very, very strong and all that, so they lacked a lot of things in it. So we stopped doing that, and basically what we did is we found an agrovet that sell feeds, and that is where we usually go. So even if we don't have sometimes funds to do that, or probably, which is really rare because you sell eggs anyway. Let's say eggs we were not able to sell our eggs during a specific period of time, then we can be able to reach out to them and they can give us on credit because we've had a good relationship with them. So you need to have that good relationship. Poultry farming, it's farming, but it's still business. So you need to have that relationship with your suppliers. So you need to have good relationship with the guys who buy your eggs from you, the guy you buy feeds from them. So you need to have that kind of good relationship. So that is the other thing. So you need to have access to feeds. If you can make your own, I think we will be doing that again, because there are a few things that we want to implement on our farm where we can be able to cut down the cost of feeds by probably around 40%, but we have to do some of the things by ourselves. So not making our own feed, but basically making another type of feeds that basically has the same components as the feeds from the shops. So that is what you need to have access to. Now the last bit you need to be, and this is equally important, this is the second last actually, this is equally important, you need to be available, because if you are not available, then trust you me, poultry farming is not for you. You need to be always available. Your availability is really, really important. So like today, the guy who is in charge of my poultry here forgot actually we have a tank just behind me here. So we have a tank here. You can see near that chair behind me. So we have a tank, we've installed that tank, and he did not actually open the tank. So the chicken did not have water for probably from around 8 a.m. to around for 2 hours. So that is really important. If you are not available, they will not care. This is your farm, this is your baby, this is what you need to. You will hire a good person. They are just people whom this is not their main focus. So basically they don't have that passion, and that's why I started, you need to have that passion. They may not have that great passion that you do have. They may not share the same passion with you. They may be doing that for survival or something like that. So you need to be always there and be on the checkout, that you ensure that everything runs well in your farm. So your availability is most important part. Again, if you run this by phone and all that, trust you me, you're not getting what you're getting. Like we had another employee who will actually they were taking the eggs because the eggs were not as they used to be. So we had to let that person go. And immediately they went, we saw the numbers coming in. So that is something that you need to look into as well. So you need to be available where you're running, and availability is for the first probably 1 year until you understand everything. So once you have everything, the ground is the wheels are rolling, then you're good. You can actually spend some time out because you can easily know what is happening. So that is the other thing. The last bit, which is somehow important as well, there are a lot of things, but the other thing is you need to have proper security in terms not just protecting it from thieves, protecting it from predators, so protecting it from wild animals. If you live up country like I do, just across me, I'm neighboring with the forest. So basically those are some of the things that I experience. So in terms of you'll find that there are some birds that may try to come in and they may come with diseases. So you need to have proper security again on your end. So there are some people who have pets, who have neighbors who have dogs. Like my neighbor is also a poultry farmer, and their chicken were eaten by a dog and cats apparently. So you need to have proper security as well. Secure it from animals, secure it from thieves or people. So you need to have that guidance. And in terms of security again, which captures is for your security or for your poultry, how people come in. When people come to your facility, they need to have disinfection done and all those things, because they may bring in disease. As much as you vaccinate your chicken, you need to do preventive to have preventive measures to prevent diseases from affecting your chicken. So that is it for today. This is a quite a little bit longer video than what I expected, but for you guys, we are going to provide you the necessary information. So don't forget to click on subscribe to our channel, hit on that notification bell so that you're notified once we release new videos.